Miriam, if you see me do this, it's because I'm very uncomfortable, and please stop her from flirting with me, okay?
Das ist so frech.
Hey, Steph.
What you doing out here, girl?
Hey guys, I'm Steph. We're here with Hey Steph TV, and I'm sitting next to St. John. And I'm smiling like this because we haven't seen each other in a long, long time. Do you remember last time we saw each other?
Yes, you were trying to flirt with me, and I was like, stop. That's not what I'm here for. Please, stop.
Das ist so frech. By the way, that means that's like very cheeky in German. That's why I said das ist so frech. Okay, das ist richtig frech. Well, obviously I'm here. Round 3, more flirting. Are you ready?
Ready. All right, listen. Miriam, if you see me do this, it's because I'm very uncomfortable, and please stop her from flirting with me, okay? This is...
That's the secret sign. That's a secret sign. It would be so funny if you just kept doing that and everybody's like, oh my God. Well, do I need a sign too? Should I do a sign too?
What sign could you be doing? What sign?
No, because I would never feel uncomfortable next to you. See?
Sweet. See, that's nice.
Now you have to do this. So what happened since we last met? How have you changed? You still look wonderful.
Thanks.
You smell great.
You like it? You smell it? Yeah. All right, cool. How have I changed? Man, that's a loaded question. So many things have changed. I live in Puerto Rico. Let's start there.
Yeah, I saw you moved there and you lived there alone.
Yeah, that sounds so lonely when you say I live there alone.
Yeah, we're gonna speak about loneliness for a second too.
Yeah, I don't live there alone, meaning Biggs lives there too. So Biggs is my brother and he's my manager, and he also lives there. So his family's there and I'm there. So he's there with his wife and his newborn baby, and I'm there. But yeah, I am alone with it. I don't like the way you make it sound. It sounds sad.
Well, it shouldn't sound sad, but what made you decide to live there? Because if I remember correctly, you very much loved New York. And you're such a New York guy, so...
I mean, for sure, I'm from Brooklyn. But I also grew up in Guyana, South America. So wanting to live in Puerto Rico is kind of like being close enough to home. Like getting closer to home, like closer to the equator, closer to somewhere where it's sunny all the time. I tried living in Miami and it just wasn't it for me. It didn't feel real enough. It felt a bit artificial. You spent any time in Miami?
No, never. I've never been to Miami.
Really?
Should I go?
I almost invited you, and then I didn't want you to wink at Miriam, so I was I was like, let me check myself. No, I mean, Miami's cool if you just want to turn up for like the weekend. But if you want something that feels a little bit more real, you got to go somewhere else.
So crazy because I always see memes about girls going to Miami and then their friendships ending. Have you ever seen that Miami trip always ends with women not being friends anymore? I don't know what it is about Miami, but it seems like a toxic place.
I feel like I've been a part of one of these friendships ending. I'm probably part of the toxicity. We shouldn't even talk about this. Nobody pointing at me.
Okay. Well, okay. So Puerto Rico, loneliness, the word, right? You said, I'm in a mansion by myself, but I'm a proud lonely. And you use lonely in a positive way, even though it's often connotated as something negative. How come?
Well, I was just stating a fact. That's from the song Overstimulated.
Correct.
I'm in a mansion by myself, but I'm a proud lonely. Proud as in the pride of knowing that whatever it took to get this mansion or acquire it, my pride is present because I know the hard work and the endeavors it took to get there to that place. Understanding that lonely is a part of it is just my bravado. I'm proud, but I'm not pleased by it. Does that make sense?
What does bravado mean? Because I mean, I'm fluent in English, but I don't know what you mean when you say bravado.
Bravado is like when you beat your chest. To summarize it, just so you have something physical related to, like a guy beating his chest, that's his bravado. A guy who places his value in his values and he pulls up in his Porsche with the music loud, he winds down the window, that's his bravado.
Swag, kind of.
It's not quite swag, there's a loudness to it. There's a need to be seen and recognized when it's bravado. And oftentimes, if there's a bit of a bravado to it, it might be covering something. I can't say that 100% of the time, but might be.
How do bravado and loneliness work then? So you're beating your chest by being alone?
Well, if you're beating your chest, you're masking you're lonely. If you're a proud lonely, you're still lonely. There's no real pride in that, in being lonely.
So it is still something negative.
Yeah. It's a mixed bag. It's for sure a bittersweet cocktail.
I'm lonely too, man. I'm like, this is hitting home. Yeah, I'm lonely too. But I'm lonely by choice. I don't know. You're lonely by choice too, probably. I hope.
What does lonely by choice mean for you?
Lonely by choice means I would rather be alone and like working on myself and like just trying to enjoy being alone. I'm trying to learn being alone. Is that weird?
No, it's not weird. You're trying to learn being alone.
Yeah.
Because you've always been in the company of somebody else?
No, I was for a long time. Then I was alone, and then I was dating, and then it was just like a whole chaos. So don't even make me open up my love life. But then, like, for 2 years now, I'm learning to be alone. And actually, sometimes it's really, really nice, but sometimes it's hella sad.
I could relate to that. I've been single for, this sounds crazy. I don't know how we talking about this. It's 12, it's early in the morning.
Because we're deep people.
This is madness. All right. I've been single for 5 years, and I was telling that to a friend the other day, and she looked at me like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know what somebody might think of a guy in my space, but if you think of a musician, you don't expect them to come singular. You expect them to come in pairs. You expect there to be a Mrs. if there's a Mr. or whatever your orientation is, you expect to see somebody show up with a significant other, or at least have another half somewhere else.
Yeah.
At least in the background somewhere. So the fact that I've been actively single for 5 years kind of says an interesting thing, because I wanted to practice being lonely, but I didn't know I was practicing being lonely. I just didn't want to dive into something that I didn't want. I've been in waters that I don't want to swim in for a long time. So to stand on the shore and look at the beach for 5 years without getting in is an interesting thing.
Would you rather be alone forever or be together with the wrong person?
How long is forever?
Forever is forever.
Like a mighty long time?
Like to the end of time.
Nah, I'd rather be with, don't make this come true. You know I'm asking.
We're not manifesting.
Just asking me questions. I'm just trying to give if forever's a mighty long time, I'd rather share that with somebody, even if it wasn't the person I designed in my mind. If I had a choice and I know it would change at some point, I'd suffer through being lonely to find the right person. But if it was forever, if it's A or B, no one wants to be lonely. You saw Castaway, that shit ain't fun.
No, that shit was, yeah, cool. I think it was a volleyball, to be fair.
It was a volleyball, you're right. But for him, it was wifey or his homie. It was
all of those things. I don't remember. Does anybody?
It wasn't like Mason or something like that.
It was something very random. Wilson, because Wilson volleyballs. Yeah, you don't want to be hugged up with Wilson, sleeping under a canopy. I don't want that for me. You want that for yourself? Currently, I'd rather do that than be around people I don't like.
All right, that's just currently. All right, same question.
Currently.
Forever. Lonely forever, or with the person that you didn't design. When I say you didn't design, meaning it's not the design you really wanted. It's not the human being you really wanted to be next to.
That's such a weird way to describe a person that I didn't design.
I meant a scenario that you didn't design, but it came out like that.
No, you know what? I did being with the wrong person. That shit just made, I'd rather be alone. Bring me Wilson. Where is Wilson?
You're referencing a bad time that you had.
Oh, yes, it was terrible.
That's not what I'm talking about. And just to say,
an okay time is also
no one says it's just an okay time. That's not fair neither. You know, it's funny. It tells me what you think about not being with the ideal person.
Yeah, that I'm mentally clearly not very sane. I'm super but okay, to be fair, you're also super selective, because 5 years of being single, same here, a bit longer. It's like you just I can't deal with not the right, what I want, which might also be insane.
More people go back to being with the wrong person than suffer through lonely. Plus, you probably had to heal some things, right?
Yeah.
You have to fix some things personally.
Very much so. Yeah.
There's some accountability in that.
Yeah.
Like when you single for a while, you got to look in the mirror. It can't just be the other person's fault.
No.
You have to look at yourself.
And there's a responsibility, because it's like, if ever I should meet someone I do really like, I want to be ready for it. I want to be a good, healthy person.
Yeah. The best version of yourself. Yeah.
Are you the best version of yourself right now?
Yeah, 100%.
What version is that? What's changed? What you worked on a lot?
Probably accountability. I'm not sure if I was ever unaccountable. Maybe I was. You know what? Let me be fair to myself. If I've grown to a place where I'm immensely accountable, like real super accountable, then there had to be a time when I wasn't. And looking at myself in the mirror, seeing what my flaws and my faults are and what I could do better. I think I've done that. I don't know where I'm at on a scale. You know how every day you think you're a little bit smarter or a little bit better, but you might only be 0.2%.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm 5% more accountable than I was 5 years ago, but in my mind, it feels like a lot.
I think that's such an important thing to grow in as a person and as an artist.
As an artist.
Too? Accountability for your art?
Yeah, but I don't know if I separate the two. I live through my art, and my art is a living expression of me, so.
It's joint. It's one, just you as a whole, 360 human being.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so happy for you. Accountability must be so great. I don't have that shit. No, I'm kidding.
Yo, you know how much of a burden it is to be accountable all the time?
Horrible. I don't even want to imagine.
Yeah,
So
it's not
bad.
really fun. It's not fun, but I guess it's some real adult shit. I ain't gonna do that adult shit.
Well, would you say adulting has led to you, losing a lot of people in your circle? Because you said, I've lost more friends than I've gained chasing this dream. Is that also accountability? Giving up relationships?
Yeah. That's being accountable to yourself. That's being accountable for yourself, and that's being responsible for your personal happiness. Letting people.
Are you happy?
Some days. Overall, overarching, yes. That's the right answer, and that's the true answer. I'm happy. Is there dissatisfaction within that? For sure. I could look around and think I've done what I wanted to do with my life and still not be where I completely wanted to be and still not have the reflections of people around me that I wanted to see, but it'll still be sunny outside. That's the conundrum. The room might be halfway empty, but the sun is shining somewhere, and I could see it.
Where do you want to go though? Or do you just go by like day-to-day
No.
happiness?
Nah.
There's a big goal?
I have an idea. Well, it's growing a little bit more. I didn't have as much value for family.
For family? Why? How come?
I didn't really have an incredible relationship with family in my earlier life. It's always been sort of a tortured scenario of relationships. And when I say family, I don't just mean people of the blood. I mean family, like, your friends, your homies, your third cousin, your best friend since you was 11, or your brother, all of that. All of that is in the same box. And I didn't have as much, I didn't invest in that.
Do you regret that?
I didn't know how to do both.
Like live your life and move forward and then still like take care of the garden that is family.
Yeah. I didn't know how to pursue dual passions because you got to water that plant for it to grow. And it requires like a constant investment. It's not just being kind to people and loving the people around you. That's not what growing your family and taking care of the people in your surroundings. That doesn't completely or concisely give a design of how you're supposed to grow family. It's an everyday maintenance. Growing family is like having weeds in the garden and pesticides and managing the soil and repotting the plants. It's more of that than just looking at a garden and making sure that the gardener waters it for, twice a week. It's an ongoing investment. It's an ongoing, burdensome thing to do. And I didn't put as much time into that. I didn't betray my friends and I wasn't disloyal and I didn't do things like that. But I didn't spend more time in the garden than I did in the tool shed. I spent more time in the tool shed. I was trying to build my life. I was trying to build my future. I was trying to design something.
But to be able to do that kind of maintenance and, take care of that garden, sometimes people have to teach you that. And if you never learned that because your life has been build the tools, create, like take care of yourself, and nobody's ever taught you that, then it's understandable that it takes time to kind of learn or teach yourself to take care of those around you,
That's until you become accountable.
Accountability.
When you finally become accountable, you realize it was always your responsibility. It doesn't matter whether no one taught you, no one introduced you to it. It's still on you.
Do you think there's certain insecurities that come from that? Like not having known that and not having taken care of that?
No, I have no association with the insecurities attached to that. Explore more though. Maybe there are.
For me, for instance, the way I grew up was not in like a stable, loving. I have a great mom. I know you have a great relationship with your mom. She did her best for you, but you grew up in poverty from the way I understood. Sure. Very, very poor. And I feel like a lot of that, and also having to grow up fast, put a lot of insecurity in me when it comes to family affairs. Like I feel like I can maneuver really well in certain things, but when it comes to dealing with my family and like my surroundings, I feel very insecure sometimes. And I think another thing that's interesting to see is when you grow up with nothing, that also instills an insecurity, I think. I don't know. I mean, for everybody it's different. But for me, it's like, I want that big designer bag. I want everybody to see like, now I got money and shit's going up,
Some of that I relate to a degree. But I didn't come from that box. I have zero associations with insecurity.
You're not insecure about anything ever.
No, it's not that I'm not insecure about anything ever. I have no life association with the word insecurity. That's never been a barrier for me in any capacity. All I know is discomfort. All I know is uncertainty, and still I show up, and still I get on the stage, and still I do my job, and still I tell my truth, and still I show my vulnerability. So insecurity is not a word that's ever had a parameter or a space in my closet. Never. Discomfort, lonely, uncertain, passion, growth, pursuit, all of those other things, I never made space for insecurity. Whatever I felt wasn't that. I'm not insecure about a fucking thing. I'm certain of who I am, even when the ground is shaky underneath me. I don't know if I'm gonna stand strong. I don't know if I'm gonna fall, but I know who the fuck I am.
Where do you get that? Where do you pull that kind of, because I don't have that at all. And it's remarkable to see. Where do you get the strength for that? Have you just always been that way?
I have. I've always lived I've lived 10 years in the future in my whole life. It was a practice I did. I don't know where I got it from. I was really young when I started doing it. I don't know if it was a coping mechanism. I'm sure if there's a therapist out there looking at this, they'll probably be like, oh, that was a coping mechanism. When I was 10 years old and things were difficult and, I was in Brooklyn and me and my mom, we were having all types of issues and the cops was always coming to the crib. I used to fast forward 10 years into the future. Something about that window of time, that gap made it really clear that no matter what was going on today, if things were fucked up today, they couldn't be identically fucked up in 10 years. There's no way 365 times 10 could have passed. I could have grown. Things could have changed. The sun could have gone up. The moon could have gone down. And it'd all be the same in year 10 from now. I knew that because I was willfully participating in my own life. I was actively involved in my own life. I wasn't waiting for something to happen. It wasn't happening to me. I was gonna go out and work and conspire so my life could be more beneficial to me. So I could have some of the dreams that I wanted, the things that I wanted, the food that I wanted to eat, the love I wanted to feel. So I knew it wouldn't be the same 10 years from now when I did that practice for a long time. I almost did it to a fault. I did it to a fault.
That's like literal manifestation in like a 10-year spectrum. Kind of.
Yeah, when I say I did it to a fault, the tools that you need at 10 might not be the tools that you need at 60. Oftentimes they're not. You have to build things, then you have to forget them and build new things. So thinking of my life in 10-year loops helped me when I was 10. Thinking of my life in 10-year loops now stops me from being present. You see the value, you see the cost? The cost is I have to break that now. That super useful tool, that skill that helped me propel me forward. I have to burn that house down so that I can be right here, right now. I just want to be present. I want to actively be present. When my friends or people around me, when they make mention of things that we've done together, or things that I've done, or things that are worth celebrating, I have little to no memory of it. I'm like, I never placed any value on that. I never thought that was super important because I'm racing towards the thing that's gonna happen in the future. So I don't celebrate any of your accolades. I don't often clap for myself. Not in any miserable way. It's just I'm still that kid from 10 years old. It's looking 10 years into the future. But I'm in the future that the 10-year-old me
wanted.
Some here. So I have to burn that house so that I can give him what he deserves to have right now.
Just peace?
Yeah, he deserves peace.
He deserves peace?
Yeah.
Well, I wish him, you, a lot of peace. Staying in the present. Sadly, we have to finish our conversation, but we can talk about all of this and continue this later on, just off camera. Haha. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sitting here with me, as per usual.
Always.
Deep conversation.
It's crazy. The last time I think we was talking about strippers, which is crazy.
Also a deep conversation.
Crazy. But it shows you like the complexity of a human being. There's peace and strip clubs, and they happen all in the same arc of someone's lifespan, their growth, their trajectory, their failures, their flourish, all of that. We should continue this.
We will. We will. Well deserved. Good information, and I think I've interviewed more than 200 people in my life. You are one of the most remarkable human beings I got to sit down with, or I get to sit down with.
That's the sweetest thing anyone said to me.
It is, isn't it? See? Don't do this now. Don't do this now. Don't do this. That's what it be, though.
Ja, heftig. Ich mach nur Interview mit der.